Let's be real. We're all pretty attached to our tech, right? Our phones, our laptops, they're part of our lives. But have you ever stopped to think about the hidden cost of that relationship? Today, we're going to dive into how our digital habits are literally reshaping our minds. And more importantly, how we can take back our focus and, honestly, our peace. So, I want to start with just a number. 144. What do you think that is? Well, that is the average number of times we check our phones. Every single day. If you do the math, that's like an interruption to our focus every 6.5 minutes we're awake. Just think about that for a second. And it turns out all those little interruptions, they add up to something pretty serious. The research is actually kind of shocking. Heavy social media use is linked to a 70% jump in depression risk and a 57% increase in anxiety. So this isn't just about being a little distracted. This is hitting at the core of our well-being.
So, what is actually going on in our brains when we're glued to our screens? I can tell you, this is not an accident. We're essentially walking right into what some experts call the digital mind trap, a system that's been designed from the ground up to rewire our brains for constant distraction.
You know, this isn't happening by chance. It's actually by design. Tech companies literally have neuroscientists on the payroll to make their products as addictive as possible. Every like, every scroll, every notification is engineered to give you a little hit of dopamine, creating a reward loop that looks almost identical to what happens in the brain of a gambling addict. It's pretty wild. So the first big side effect of this is something called attention residue. You know that feeling when you switch from checking your email to scrolling Instagram, then back to your work? Well, a part of your brain is still stuck on what you were just doing, and this residue can slash your cognitive performance by up to 40% for almost half an hour. So yeah, that whole idea of multitasking is pretty much a myth. And then there's this other thing that happens, dopamine dysregulation. Basically, our brains get so used to these constant, tiny, easy rewards from our devices that the things in real life, like a good conversation or watching a sunset, they start to feel, well, kind of boring. Our whole pleasure system gets out of whack. And to top it all off, there's cortisol elevation. Every single buzz, every ping, every notification from our phone can trigger a tiny little stress response. And when that happens over and over all day long, it keeps our bodies in this low-grade state of fight or flight, just pumping out stress hormones. No wonder we all feel so frazzled. Okay, so that all sounds pretty grim, right? But here's the good news. There is an incredibly powerful antidote. And the best part is, it doesn't mean you have to throw your phone in the ocean. The answer is learning how to practice mindfulness. The whole solution really rests on these 4 big ideas or pillars. First, being conscious about what you consume. Second, anchoring yourself in the present moment. Third, creating real, solid boundaries with your tech. And finally, making real-world connection a priority. This is the playbook for taking back control. All right, so theory is one thing, but how do we actually do this? Let's get super practical. There are a few simple things you can start doing today, like right now, that can make a huge difference. This one is one of my favorites, and you can do it anywhere. It's called the 5 Senses Reset. The next time you find yourself mindlessly scrolling, just stop and do this. Look around and silently name 5 things you can see. Then notice 4 things you can physically feel. Listen for 3 different sounds. Try to identify 2 smells, and finally, notice 1 taste in your mouth. Boom! It instantly shatters that digital trance and pulls you right back into the real world. Okay, here's another game changer. It's all about being intentional in those moments right before you pick up your phone and right after you put it down. These little transition moments are massive opportunities for mindfulness. And the process couldn't be simpler. So before you grab your device, just pause. Take 3 deep breaths and ask yourself, why am I picking this up? Then, while you're using it, try to just do one thing at a time. And when you're done, consciously put it away, take 3 more deep breaths, and really bring your full attention back to whatever is in front of you. So you might be wondering, how do you actually turn these little tricks into habits that stick? Well, let's lay out a super clear path to help you build a much healthier, more balanced relationship with your tech. And get this, the payoff is pretty incredible, and it happens faster than you'd think. Just within the first couple of weeks, people report feeling less anxious and having way better focus. If you stick with it, you'll start to see your sleep improve, your productivity go up, your thinking get clearer, even your relationships can feel more authentic. This is what's really on the table here. And the best part? You absolutely do not have to overhaul your entire life overnight. The key is just starting with a few small, simple steps. So, for the first 2 weeks, we're not trying to change the world.
We're just focusing on one thing, awareness. So here's the plan. Try to go phone-free for the first hour of your day, or hey, even just 30 minutes to start. Do that 5 senses reset we talked about 2 or 3 times a day, and really try to practice those mindful transitions. That's it. It's simple, it's totally manageable, and it really, really works.
Okay, but I know what you're probably thinking right now. What about FOMO? That nagging feeling in the back of your head. What if I miss something important? An email, an invite, a piece of news. That fear of missing out is real, and it's powerful.
This is where we need to flip the script. We're going to reframe FOMO into JOMO, the joy of missing out. This is about finding the joy in focusing deeply on one thing at a time. The joy of building rich, fulfilling offline hobbies. It's about realizing that, honestly, most of the stuff online can wait. You're trading that endless, anxious scrolling for genuine, real-life connection and fulfillment.
And I want to leave you with this idea from Viktor Frankl, which just perfectly sums up what digital mindfulness is all about. He said, between stimulus and response, there's a space. For us, that phone notification, that's the stimulus. And automatically reaching for it, that's the response. Digital mindfulness is the practice of making that space, that pause, just a little bit wider. Because in that space, that's where our power is. That's where we get to choose. And as Frankl says, in that choice, that's where we find our growth and our freedom.